Welcome to Stateline. I'm Tracy Bowden, sitting in for Quentin Dempster, who's on leave. First up, the retirement villagers who say they're the victims of unfair laws. Last year, the Minister for Fair Trading, Virginia Judge, passed highly anticipated reforms to the Retirement Village Act. But the Retirement Village Residents Association says changes to the Act have created even more ambiguity in the sector. As confusion grows over fees and charges, the Fair Trading Department is warning potential investors in retirement villages to research their contracts carefully. Miss Kelly reports.
For some, it's the promise of a more caring community, and for others, the combination of low-maintenance living and group activities. But it all comes with a cost, and some residents are now wondering about their decision to buy, lease or invest in the retirement village life.
Unfortunately, intending residents are not fully briefed by their lawyers or other advisors into what are the provisions of the Act and the circumstances in a retirement village.
Malcolm Mackenzie leads the Retirement Village Residents Association, a lobby group of over 5,000 village residents. In his opinion, many retirement village operators are profiteering through excessive fees.
We have just been through many village budgets with their residents' committees, and we have found that they are expected to carry unfair loads.
It's a simple problem with a complex cause. Unlike normal housing, retirement villages sell a lifestyle and so offer a mix of payment methods, from leases to strata holdings to loan licences, and the contracts vary from village to village. In Swansea, near Newcastle, Betty and Rob Harvey feel trapped by a contract that, while charging them fees, also locks them into a capital loss if they decide to sell.
When we read it through our contract, there were certain things that we took out of our contract and took up with the solicitor, and some we got answers in writing and some we got answers verbally, and unfortunately it was the verbal ones that we got that were the most important.
The New South Wales Department of Fair Trading oversees the village sector. Deputy Commissioner Rod Stowe says prospective residents need to be well informed.
It's really important that if someone's thinking about getting into a retirement village, they obtain the pre-contractual material, read it carefully, have it explained to them by a legal representative, talk to their members of their family.
Last year, Virginia Judge, the Minister for Fair Trading and the Arts, delivered legislation bringing major reforms to the Retirement Village Act and its regulations regarding fees and costs.
We were hoping that we might be able to get a much better situation where there was a bit more prescription so that residents knew exactly where they stood.
Jan Pritchett is the Secretary of the Residents Association. She was hoping to see less ambiguities on repairs and maintenance.
When the legislation was being formulated, we had quite a lot of meetings with them and also with the Minister and with the policy officers to try to work through some of these problems.
To many in the sector, this draft clause on capital maintenance sought to define what was a repair and what was a replacement cost and who paid for what. But when the Legislative Council reworked the final legislation in December, the draft capital maintenance definition was struck out.
There was an attempt to try and resolve that issue by having the payments split right down the middle with 50-50 paid by residents and operators. Unfortunately, through the legislative process, it became clear that there wasn't support amongst the stakeholders for that proposal.
What village residents are afraid of is that instead of gaining clarity, they may have been delivered into a legal grey zone where everyday handyman jobs turn into major disputes. Neil Smith, a village activist from Sydney's North Shore, says the new regulations are failing.
We have now discovered that this is literally thousands of dollars involved in this failure to interpret what is a repair and what is a replacement.
He was surprised when this year, as a bondholder in his complex, he was asked to help fund a 7-digit exterior painting bill by the new commercial owner.
When the draft regulations were put out, included as a regulation was that the external painting of a village would be the cost responsibility of the operator. Now, on the 18th of December, when the final regulation was put out, we discovered that that regulation had been completely removed.
What may be maintenance to some villages can be a capital item in others, and it needs to be defined more clearly.
Fees and charges are not only an issue for residents. When his father, Henry Gamble, passed away, Victorian Peter Gamble was hoping for a quick sale of his Erina apartment.
It's been up for sale for about just over 18 months now, and in that period the service fees have amounted to $19,000.
Despite being empty, the Gamble's unit is still accumulating fees and service charges under its strata contract.
The impact is that we really can't wrap up my father's affairs, and nearly 2 years down the track, we're still maintaining a folder of correspondence, we're still getting monthly letters, we still get the invoices every month, we get the electricity bills every quarter, so that there's all this still sort of hanging around.
Peter Gamble has recently spoken to Fair Trading about the private operators who are responsible for organising the sale.
We asked them to drop the price by about $20,000. We didn't get a response to that particular point in that particular letter.
The advice from Fair Trading is that when disputes arise, residents should first seek resolution through the department.
I would recommend that anybody who had those sorts of concerns come in the first instance to New South Wales Fair Trading, and we'll certainly see if we can't intercede to overcome the dispute.
Where disputes are unresolved, residents are able to appeal to the Consumer, Trade and Tenancy Tribunal. But Rod Stowe says there were only 8 cases heard last financial year.
It should be remembered that out of 600 retirement villages housing some 36,000 people, that's quite a small number, and certainly, in our view, not evidence of major market failure.
This year, I believe already there are far more than 8 applications gone in just in the last couple of months, and this is because so many people are rejecting their budgets this year.
Rod Stowe also says the debate on capital maintenance charges clouds many positive changes in the new legislation.
There's a significant number of reforms that improve the position of residents. One of those, for instance, is the 90-day settling in period, which means that if a resident moves into a retirement village, finds it's not for them, they can extricate themselves out of the contract without financial penalty.
While the reform process is finalised for now, the private industry is happy to talk about further reform.
We're always open to be talking about issues that impact our industry. Our view is that the more clarity we can have within the legislation, the more fair and transparent our situation is. So we would always welcome the opportunity to sit down with government, with the residents and the Residents Association.
The opposition has developed a policy to standardise all village contracts. In the meantime, Malcolm Mackenzie will continue to assist residents and their village committees resolve problems with operators.
Unfortunately, on the residents to see that those legislative provisions have been carried out to the letter by the operators.